Imagine a killer who doesn't just commit crimes, but writes letters to the police, sends secret codes to newspapers, and openly dares investigators to catch him. Now imagine that despite decades of investigation, no one has ever proven who he really was. This is the chilling true story of the mysterious Zodiac Killer, one of the most famous unsolved crimes in history. The story begins in the late 1960s in California. At the time, the region around San Francisco was known for its peaceful suburbs, young couples, and quiet late-night roads. But in December 1968, something terrible happened near the small town of Vallejo. A teenage couple had parked their car in a quiet lover's lane. The night was calm, and there was almost no one around. Suddenly, another car pulled up behind them. A man stepped out and approached their vehicle. At first, the couple probably thought it was just another driver, but seconds later, the man pulled out a gun and opened fire. The attack shocked investigators. There was no robbery, no clear motive, and the killer disappeared into the night. At first, police believed it might be a random act of violence, but 6 months later, another attack happened, this time near Benicia, again targeting a young couple parked in their car. The pattern was becoming clear. Someone was deliberately targeting couples in isolated places at night. The killer once again escaped without leaving many clues. Then, something even stranger happened. In July 1969, 3 major newspapers in California received letters from someone claiming responsibility for the murders. The letters were signed with a strange symbol that looked like a crosshair, and for the first time, the killer introduced himself to the world. He called himself Zodiac. Inside the letters were cryptograms, secret codes made of symbols and letters. The writer demanded that newspapers publish them on the front page. He even threatened that if they didn't, he would continue killing. Soon, the case exploded into national news. The mysterious killer wasn't just committing crimes. He was playing a psychological game with the entire country. Police officers, cryptographers, and ordinary citizens all began trying to solve the strange codes. One of the first ciphers was eventually cracked by a schoolteacher and his wife. The message inside was disturbing. The killer claimed he enjoyed hunting humans because it was more fun than hunting animals. But even more chilling was the final line. It suggested that after death, his victims would become his servants in the afterlife. The letters terrified the public because the killer clearly wanted attention, and he seemed to enjoy spreading fear. In September 1969, another attack occurred at Lake Berea. This time, the killer approached his victims wearing a strange costume. He had a black hood covering his face. On his chest was the same crosshair symbol from the letters. He tied up the couple before attacking them. Before leaving, the killer walked to their car and wrote a message on the door. The message included the dates of his previous crimes. It was almost as if he wanted investigators to know exactly who he was. Weeks later, another murder occurred in San Francisco. The victim was a taxi driver named Paul Stein. Witnesses reported seeing a man calmly leaving the scene and walking down the street. Police officers even stopped a suspicious man nearby, but due to a miscommunication in the suspect description, they let him go. Many investigators later believed that officers may have unknowingly spoken to the Zodiac Killer himself. Meanwhile, the letters continued arriving. More ciphers, more taunts, more threats. Some messages included pieces of evidence taken from victims. This proved that the writer truly was the killer, but despite years of investigation, police could never identify him with certainty. Over time, several suspects were investigated. One of the most famous suspects was Arthur Lee Allen. He matched certain parts of the description and had a suspicious background. However, investigators could never find enough evidence to prove he was the Zodiac. As the years passed, the letters slowly stopped. The murders stopped as well, and the killer vanished. Today, more than 50 years later, the case of the Zodiac Killer remains officially unsolved. The identity of the man who terrorized California in the late 1960s is still a mystery. Thousands of investigators, journalists, and amateur detectives have tried to solve the case. Some believe the killer died long ago. Others think he simply stopped. But one thing is certain, the Zodiac Killer created one of the most chilling criminal mysteries in history. A killer who didn't just commit crimes, he turned them into a game, a puzzle, a message to the world. And to this day, the final answer to that puzzle has never been found. If you enjoy real mystery and true crime stories like this, Make sure to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more fascinating crime stories.